Good day and welcome to my dear Capricorn. This is Ron from Terror of the Twin Sun. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe or dislike to your own honesty and for, of course, future progressions in terms of channeling. My name is Ron from Terror of the Twin Sun. Terror of the Twin Sun is part of the Order of the Twin Sun. It's a functional division within the order. Today we shall do a three portals reading. So the three portals are essentially three gateways, three possibilities, modes of possibilities that may emerge for the energy of Capricorn, of the 10th house. Okay. In this, we see the externalizations and the axis of nurture, as well as grounding in terms of how we represent ourselves in certain so-called realities that we may identify with in terms of our own self-projection into the world. The key word is projection as opposed to reception. That is the difference in the polarity of the 4th to the 10th. And we'll go ahead and get started. I'll be using this deck in particular. It is a 1983 deck called the Royal Fez Moroccan Tarot deck. So we'll go ahead and get started. Please take only what you will. This shall not resonate for everyone, but for those of you it does. Please take the best in terms of credence and discretion. Be able to use your best judgment in applying this information. It's merely gateways that we're dealing with, portals. So these are possibilities, okay? They don't have to be realities. Thank you. The first portal is now open. Okay, this has to do with a core philosophy or principle within you. The first portal deals also with coming up against opposition. Your card coming up here, the Ten of Pentacles. Big time opposition, especially when it comes to trying to reach out or make things externally viable in terms of your career path or perhaps your projects that you're working on. If it pertains to those modes of stabilization, those modes of stability, those modes of representing in a stabilized way, grounding those things. There's something here that had to do with a type of cycle of you situating yourself and communicating with others that there was a type of closed agreement here, okay? This centralizes around a path of transformation, deep shadow work, as well your ability to sort of take care of loose ends here. I'm seeing here a lot of loose ends that need to occur. One, polarity has to do with the Ten of Cups and the journey of the Fool. But then the responsibility that comes through the energy of Virgo and the Hermit to return back to something that has been binding you. This is something of a burden for you. You've been able to get over or you will be at least, a period of regret or some sort of remorse when it comes to this past sort of duty or responsibility that you feel indebted to. When it comes to love, there is a possibility that this situation comes with history, something that you feel like it's ungrounded, but there's something about it also that feels very familiar. There's been a period, a very long period of burden with this connection. There also is a sort of turned offness to it, a turned off quality to it, in which transformation is occurring on a plutonic level, or at least it's being sort of halted in a way. There is a mode of transformation here that is supposed to occur big time with the Hermit as well, with the Death card um, crowning, as well as when moving forward, there's a moving back, and there's something about a cycle of transformation that has not yet come to pass. Okay, this has to do with the externalization of commitments, making those known, as well as being bonded to modes of karma that are holding you back in some sort of way. There is no hanged man here, but there is certainly a great deal of transformation that comes through the energy of the sixth and the eighth houses. Okay, so the mystery of the seven emerges. That is through the other. If you're dealing with another, this person also potentially needs to go through some form of transformation, plutonic transformation, and its relation to Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is the great limiter here through the Devil card. Okay, this could be the limitation of said things or commitments that are tying you back to the past, limitations of time as well as resources, limitations of the spirit, of not being able to sort of look for what your soul desires, which can be a lot more intensified, especially through the other. Okay, if this other is trying to move away, it's being pulled back into the energy of Saturn, meaning that there still is a lesson to be learned through said love situation, and also there is something tied to the family as a lens through the past to look into the future, but the future feels like it's trying to move back and trying to relive a cycle that has died out in a certain way. I think you have nothing to fear when it comes to this connection if you are dealing with another person. There's a possibility that you will be able to move forward in a very progressive way. Also, something about truly letting go of past regrets, but the past still being a burden. Every time moving back, either you or this person, there is a great deal of disdain or heaviness. Okay, but it's a commitment here, big time, and it's something that this whole portal deals with the Nine of Cups in reverse, meaning that there's something about memory that is pulling you back, and some sort of duty that you feel bound to. Okay, this binding, what you're trying to pull out of it is essentially moving forward, but then there's a sort of first house, sixth house sort of, I need to do this, but then there's responsibilities pushing me back. Okay, sort of energy. You're trying to move away, especially from commitments that link the third dimension to more spiritual realm, meaning that there could be some karma that needs to be cycled or recycled in order for you to truly move into a way that is new but challenging. Okay, there's also a possibility of you finding that you need to take your power back, and that there needs to be a sense of balance while moving towards a hidden new beginning. Okay. As far as advice for that portal goes, um, know the polarities and the conditionalities of your offers. Know that these are changeable and that they may be very intense from one second to the next. There's a bipolar quality to the way you potentially may see the world. Okay, bipolar meaning that there's very intensified ways of you It is not offensive. It's not offensive to you, hopefully. Basically, it's oscillations of chemical imbalances in your brain as well. A need to balance these out and to note that there are very intensified swings with the way you practice meaningful fulfillment. Okay. Um, just know that these intensities may shift often, at least for the month of January 2020. Um, yeah, let's continue. I'm switching over to the 1983 deck. This is the 1890 deck. It's 130 years old. Could be actually a replica, judging by the feel of the deck, but it is beautiful nonetheless. French, BP Gamal. We're going to look into the path of the sixth house, devotion to the past, and this portal will deal with its relation to future modes. We'll see what happens. Okay. The portal is now open, second portal. Once again, the Ten of Pentacles showing up strongly in the mode of action, okay? Last time I was in reverse, Ten of Pentacles again, okay? This is your card, and this has to do with the externalization, family systems, as well as externalization of the realities that would help you to feel like you've gained something in a Taurian way, but also in a Capricorn way, a way to orchestrate or conduce or be conducive of power, okay? To be a conduit, if you will, towards systemization, towards institutions, towards family, especially. It's also the card of legacy. When it comes to this, there is a mode of operation that has to do with you being a student of choice, big time. One path will lead you to one of two things, either that of truth or that of pain through the mind. Okay, the other path will lead to a path that forks to two different choices, okay? Let's see. Okay. Interesting. So, there's an ability for you to really find that balance that you are searching for, go walk the path of maturity, and to reach others who are in control of institutions or families or legacy in some sort of way. They will listen to you because they are realizing your greater potential in terms of maturity. There is a Taurian quality to that in which you idealize your own possessions and how these possessions may be ideal in some sort of way. The way of possession, the way of idealizing, the way of method, the way of praxis, of practicality, okay? There is something about you that is going to learn through a lesson of choice, and to note that this is being orchestrated with people that have influence over you, and these people are benefactors in a way, okay? There's a possibility for you to learn truly, either through truth being delivered to you or truth coming through the guise of pain or some sort of sacrifice, okay? This will help liberate you and your thoughts and move you to a place of sustained sort of freedom, meaning that you will become a lot more independent. You're walking towards the path of independence from said systems that I've mentioned before through the Ten of Pentacles, okay? Let's see. Okay. Calamity. Okay. Very interesting. This is a path of maturation that comes through emotional intelligence. That is something that you're seeking. Insights, deep insights that produce themselves, that that materialize in terms of their inherent truths. Okay, one truth in particular, one emotionally intelligent thing in particular. There's a mystery here that has to do with newness that comes through the new moon in Capricorn, that is coming. Okay, I believe it's in Capricorn, on the 13th, I think. That should be 2 days from this publication. When this time period occurs, there's a possibility of you already walking a path of ritualization, a rite of passage. Okay, something where you have been going through a period of maturity. This is soon to shift. Excuse me, as intuition will be deeply provided for you in a way. You will be with the high priestess on the roots, especially on the root, on the unconscious. You will, you may potentially be open and savvy to forms of information that have to do with method and praxis, deep information that comes from the ether. Okay, this has to do with types of empowerment as well as types of discernment. Excuse me, that may be a mode of really coming into a type of intuition, intuitive power rising. Okay, as you move forward, and the ability to cut out things or perhaps parry against certain obstacles or people who would wield a sword against you. Um, so you will be in a sort of powerful, aggressive, yet passive sort of moving forward that has to do with the influence of certain informations or certain types of spiritual understandings that come through this period. Come through the second house as well as the fourth house as well as the 12th house. Okay, a movement into the externalization of deep spiritual inclinations. Okay, and once again, this comes from a search either for true love or true truth. There's something about you that is bringing back or reanimating something from the past. This has to do with your left side, okay, your more subtle side, the feminine side. Something is emerging out of the shadow of the past in terms of a portrait, and there's an ability for you to shift this energy into radical sort of radical production mode, a shift from feminine to masculine energies, from passive to active energies. Okay, and this is something that is being fueled by intuitive response. Okay, intuitive response. There's something about the rite of passage here that comes from mother to father, and then father to mother again, a switching of anima to animus, a switching of drives that have to do with the left and the right side, an ability to balance these in a certain way. There's something about you also producing this power. It's an intense power. But the thing is that if you're searching for wisdom, if you're searching for love, there's something about this cycle that is retroactive and trying to awaken a part of you that is more intuitive in order to understand your place and your progression in terms of institutions or organizations, places of work as well, places of family, home. There's something about the method and some sort of emotional influx that comes from the great mother into the great father, of resources. These resources are intuitive in nature, emotional in nature. So you have to be cognizant of that in which may provide for you some sort of fulfillment on an emotional level, but these may be toxic potentially. There could be a need for healing or a need for further discernment of the truth. Okay? We're going to shift over into a love reading, and we're going to shift decks as well. I'm going to shift over to my other 130-year-old deck from BP Gamal Press Friends. This is the real deal. And this is also the no Borders deck, so there are no partitions or parlay between the lovers. 130 years old. It costed me a fortune to get this. Worth every penny. As you'll see from the illustrations, they are quite profound. 4 plus 6. Yep. And call upon the energy of Saturn for this. Okay. Yeah, this is good. That's right. That is the mirror. Okay. So, not only does Saturn show up, but a great deal of disconnection, detachment that comes through the energy of Uranus. Not really knowing what to do in terms of what the fuck when it comes to this situation. There also is a type of anger or misrepresentation, miscommunication in some sort of way as the active agent. This is Uranian in nature too. Uranus can be a son of a gun. When it comes to anger, flare-ups, it's very Martian in a way, but then also unorthodox. There is a type of dedication to Uranus that is dedicated to eccentric modes of expression, flare-ups. We have the Hamashang here, which is the King of Swords in reverse, Hamashang, which has to do with the energy of stratifying certain neural pathways in the brain, these becoming distorted and shifted by the energy of Uranus. So there's a type of editing process that may have to do with this situation, one that may lead to a type of boredom within it, or at least to some sort of purification through the mode of sieving, to the mode of processing, the mode of really sort of becoming wise within the situation, okay? So wisdom emerges out of the action of anger, as well as the Uranian sort of swing, the shifting of Uranus, okay, of different thoughts. So thoughts are being essentially pondered. You're actually becoming more aware of your thoughts and the relation of these thoughts to the situation or the person you may be dealing with, okay? And it works vice versa. There is a period of dissension here that may be seen as a type of noble act, or could be very much based on the energy of the four on their end. They are trying to structure out thoughts or emotions or memories, but these are essentially emotionally sort of bathed in emotion, in the moonlight of emotion. It's very difficult for them because they are trying to ground themselves, or at least be devoted to their external world. Okay, they're also attempting to be devoted outside of this connection, outside of your own connection. Okay, in some way, they may represent for you a type of purity, a type of way of orchestrating the great playet of all, the great Leela, and how the sort of masks you wear may cover up the actual tension that may be occurring within the situation. This involves process and nobility. Okay, so once again, there is a sort of reification, a straining, a purification that is occurring here that has to do with the jumbling up of appearances, thoughts, angry, detached thoughts that are not being talked about, but then these being the source of illumination in some sort of way, something that you can't really partake in, this connection, but you're processing it anyways. Remember the significant other? this person can be a person, place, or thing. It doesn't have to be somebody physical. Um, the idea here is a great deal of severity as well as practicality that emerges out of the situation to find a sense of peace, to find a sense of grace. But also, there is an element of boredom because you're not able to express truly things that are being held back in terms of truth or in terms of passions. Okay, because of such, there is a sort of unwillingness for you that may emerge that has to do with processing things, not really meeting them head on in some sort of way. There is an urge for you to find a missing stepping stone through this situation that has to do with essentially the way to find a platform in which you would be comfortable parlaying with this person. But with this deck, it's very much particular. There is no parlay, as I've mentioned. There is also a possibility for you to withdraw and process and find certain truths that may emerge from a platform of your own design, something that you have relied on for some time. This has been your throne in terms of mutual sort of inclusivity, ways of finding multiple pathways that you have chosen out of pressure, okay? And these you are ruminating over. Perhaps there's some anger that is self-reflexive, self-imposed anger upon yourself, and trying to understand how, in this mode of power, you may have been coming up against odds. Okay, there's something about the grace of this person that has caught your attention. And I use that word lightly. It's very callous, very conservative in a way. This could also be you in terms of the mirror. It doesn't have to be them. A type of grace that involves devotion to externalize things outside of the connection, and trying to understand placement within there, okay, within that place, okay? So a great deal of processing, a great deal of meditation, deliberation of the mind, collation of different thoughts and ideas percolating here. But also a sense that this person is being guided away in order to tend to karmas that are outside of the connection, okay? Person, place, or thing. What you guys both want is a sense of fortune to come in and to sort of remove the obstacles or to remove the blockage here that involves both of you. This person has a lot of Virgo influence. Not only that, there is an element of Cancer combined with Capricorn here that has to do with the natural flow of the sacred fire from them to you. There is a need for them to essentially let loose the connection, to let loose and let go, to let things flow accordingly. This could also be you. There also is a possibility for a doubling up of efforts on one end that are that have to do with essentially letting loose as well on your end here. The 10 of rods plus the 5 of rods, there's an element of really becoming refined in terms of your desires, but these desires not being expressive enough for true closure to occur. Perhaps you don't want this to be closed, the situation. Perhaps this situation is a type of obstacle, but you want to keep it that way because there's something about the division and the balancing out of certain halves here that may produce some sort of truth. The new moon will be very important, especially for them. They will understand the moon in Capricorn, the sort of deeper and inner. They will understand you in a way, and this will help sort of bring things down, to shrink things down to size, to see things on a more microscopic level. There's an element here that has to do with the power structures that be, and it works vice versa. It works vice versa. There's a severe sort of warping of the appearance of things, and both of you want to sort of take the reins in terms of the fortunate aspects of the situation. in terms of like really coming up in terms of the year of the rat, as well as coming up in terms of the cycle, how things are changing and shifting. Both of you want the shift to occur, but you're still seeing this as a type of obstacle. Maybe they are seeing it as a type of obstacle, the situation, or a stepping stone, as I've mentioned. Because of such, the advice is to really be cognizant of certain things that maybe on an unconscious level here, activating certain karmas between you. One involves a deep intensified polarity that comes through the energy of Venus and Scorpio with La Pansal. This has to do with the Seven of Cups, okay? Seven of Cups has showed up twice already for your portals. This is, of course, the last portal. And there's a pensiveness, or perhaps a very deep intensified sort of dealing with different things, different options, and options being one of the greatest obstacles here. Okay, this person, place, or thing could be an option. They're dealing with the outside world. There's a part of them that's shedding off a conservative skin. They also represent the seventh house for you. A lover that is running away, or a person, place, or thing that's running away in terms of the energy of Cancer. Okay, Cancer is strong in them as well, as I mentioned, Virgo and Taurus. There's something about them that needs to at least make a journey and ride their chariot out into the external world before returning back. There will be a return back, I do see that, especially with the element of the Four of Pentacles, the element of Earth, and the return to Earth, something like this. Both of you are dealing with a great deal of shadows when it comes to this connection. This has to do with the proclivity of the fifth house, a great deal of yearnings of the inner child, or the inner children within you that have not yet developed, and works vice versa. There's something about the path of Aquarius here that has to do with humanitarian aims, that both of you sort of vibrate at a very similar frequency. But this person might have something to teach you in terms of their devotion to things outside of the connection. But there's a great deal of suppressed and conscious modes of anger when it comes to this detachment that this person and you may be dealing with, especially if there's any Leo influences, the sun's energy within your chart. Check where that is, and see potentially how there might be a type of, this situation could represent a type of gateway into the underworld for both sides. So like the obstacle here is essentially not finding union but disharmony, and through the disharmony, understanding more about the shadows, making friends with those, and potentially moving on in some sort of way. But this is a very intense emotional connection for you and them. There is a lot of emotional work that has to be done in terms of shadows, and the inner realm that is not yet tamed, the wildness of the inner world. The advice is to not let this be serving as a block. There is a great deal of connectivity here, but also there is a cycle, many cycles that need to occur, and both of you are cognizant of this. That has to do with the shift in a globalized way. That's how I'm seeing it. Hopefully that wasn't too spacey for you. I need to ground now. I do appreciate your likes or dislikes accordingly. I do appreciate your responsiveness. I also am available for private readings. This was a rather large reading, so I don't think you really need it, but if you would like me to go deeper, I am available. And donations, of course, are appreciated. Thank you very much, my dear Capricorn. The 10th house is closed and this portal is closed. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.